Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Fernvalley Farm YouTube channel. Board meeting for the first time. My name is Vince, and welcome to the channel. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what I did. I just made a big mess. Now, if you see my other videos on this, how I expanded my bee yard, the first one come out on Christmas. I did that Christmas day. It was a beautiful, like 60-some degree day on Christmas. I couldn't believe it. I'll link all this stuff at the end here. But what I'm doing is I decided to move everything to over here. So what I did is everything that was over here, I took all that stuff out. The problem with this over here, and it works out really well, but the problem is it's always so wet and it's all muddy. This is like the far end of one of my pastures here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fence this off so the horses can't get next to it. But what I like about this, see how nice and flat this is? It's all nice and flat. It does get wet. It gets wetter over there. The township that we live in is called Spring Township, and it's called Spring Township for a reason, because there's just so much groundwater. Eventually, it does dry up later in the spring, but when it keeps raining or snowing or whatever, things just stay wet. So now what I did is I took everything from over there, and I moved it over here. These are all the stands that I had over there. Now they're all just in one row. And then I added another section over here. So I've got a total of 25 spots for regular size hives, which basically is plenty. I don't want to get too big to where it turns into a job and I can't keep up with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love doing this, but if it gets too big and you can't keep up with it amongst everything else that I got to do. So now I've got a row right here, and see what's nice about using that galvanized, and I can't remember if I mentioned that in the last video. I've got all that galvanized roofing. And if you see my pole barn way over here, that galvanized roofing is what's used on pole buildings, wall. It's used everywhere. But this is older stuff that I had because that part of that roof got replaced a few years ago. So I kept all the scrap, the good stuff. It's got some holes in it from all the old screws and nails, but that doesn't matter. What's nice about this, I got an angry bee. What's nice about this, it's going to stop the weeds, obviously, from coming up through the middle, because you don't want weeds coming up underneath your hive, because then you got hive beetles, the spiders, the ants, everything. It's nice to keep everything nice and clean, and plus all that moisture is not hitting the bottom of your hives, and eventually it's going to rot your wood. So what's nice about this galvanized is nothing's going to come through it. I mean, I might get a weed or two pop through some of the old screws, but that's not a big deal. The other nice thing about it, as far as hive beetles go, if you look at the front here, because generally what happens is the hive beetles will fall off, they'll bore themselves into the ground, and I can't remember if it's like 20-some days for them to reproduce, and then they'll come back up. Well, with this, they fall off. Obviously, they can't get into the ground. They got to come way out here. So I'm thinking the chances of them coming back and climbing back into the hive is going to be minimal compared to if there was nothing there at all. So that's going to be nice for that. It's going to keep the hive beetles hopefully way lower. No weeds to weed whack underneath the hives. The other nice little trick about this is how I've got this set. You can kind of see I cut the grass around it. Now when I mow, I can come out here with my tractor that I use for my lawn, and I can mow right around this. And the top of the what am I trying to say? The deck. The deck of the mower can go right along the edge of that and cut the grass around it really nice. Then I'm not going to do any more weed spraying, any of that stuff. And I do have a video on that. On all natural weed killer. It's pool salt and vinegar. It does work really well. But anyway, it's a different subject. So I can come out here now and I can mow really nice. Hive beetles, less hive beetles. Less weeds underneath, less spiders. I hate spiders. It'll look really nice. I am going to put a fence, a little bit of a hot wire fence around this so the one horse that comes out in this pasture won't mess with these things. He probably won't. He's a good old boy, but if I don't do it, he will. So I'm going to put some kind of a fence around this. But anyways, I just wanted to show you kind of the bee yard expansion. It's all in one spot. It's all right here. I can put my benches. I can put my benches right in the middle. Now I've got a nice, flat, dry area. What's going to happen over here, that's going to be for all my, eventually I'm going to start doing some queen rearing. I'm not going to do it this year. I've got enough to keep all this stuff. I've got enough going to where I want to keep all this stuff going with my splits. But I do want to do some queen rearing next year. So over there, I'm going to take another piece of that galvanized siding. Once all this dries, I'm going to bring my tractor out here, level that really nice. put some siding down, put the bricks. I do have one stand over there that I got for my nukes. So I'll build another stand for a bunch of nukes. So and if I do have to do a nuke this year, I'm going to move the nuke over here and keep it away from this side. The mating nukes will go over here. That'll be just another separate area for like my mating nukes for my nukes. Right here, you can see I got to move. I'm going to move my my pollen substitute feeder. I'm going to bring that over here, dig a hole. I'm going to put it right back over here, and then that'll be set for there. Okay, the other nice thing about that spot, but let me show you this first. You always, another trick to where you want to position your hives is you want sunlight, especially in the winter. If you live up here, if you're down south, it's not as big of an issue, but up in the north, you want to keep your hives out in the sun, or you want them to get as much southern exposure as they can in the wintertime obviously for the sunlight. So over here it works out really good. They get a lot of sun, then it goes behind these trees. You know, January, February, it starts kind of creeping back over, but they do get sun all winter long here. What's nice about right here is they're going to get a whole lot more sun all winter long because these are a little bit farther over here. So as that sun is creeping and ready to get over those trees, these hives are going to get sun longer during the day in the winter, and in the morning, especially when it's cool. It's not such a big deal in the summer when it's hot, but like now when it's cool out, because I've been working on this in the morning, these hives get sunlight quicker in the morning than those hives than they did when they were over there, which obviously right now is not that big of a deal because it's still kind of it's not that cold out now. It's still cool. But here again, in the spring, early spring, late spring, early summer, we can have some cool mornings. So it's nice that the girls can get some sunlight quicker in the morning than they would over here. So this is going to work out a whole lot nicer. More sun, quicker earlier in the spring, in the morning. Definitely more sun in the winter, longer than they would over there. It's nice and flat. There's no mud. When I go do my oxalic acid treatment, I can drive my tractor right around here with my little cart with my generator. Everything's going to just work out a lot nicer. So hopefully I gave you guys somebody an idea here. This is just kind of some tips, some ideas on maybe if you want to expand your bee yard. We'll show you what I did once I got these hives moved. I'll show you what that looks like, what I do when I go to move a hive, and how you know what you do when you move a hive to a new spot. I'll show you that in the next video. And watch this video right here next, and you'll see the beginning of this process back on Christmas Day, and then watch this video right here. You'll see the next step in this process and how I got all this stuff set. So YouTube, until next time, I'll see you later. All right, bye.